Broadcasting live from Chickies and Pete's. Tonight's show is brought to you by Team Toyota, BCWSA, Fogo de Chaux, Independence Blue Cross, and Capital Grill. Now, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Tommy Greene.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chickies and Pete's. Boy, it's a big night, big week in Philadelphia for sports. And Phillies were helped out a little bit this afternoon when the New York Yankees came from behind to beat the Arizona Diamondbacks up at Yankee Stadium. And tomorrow night, the Phillies play the Pittsburgh Pirates, the beginning of our last home series of the regular season. And then next week, we should be hosting the wild card. Now, our co-host tonight is no stranger to postseason play, helping lead the Phillies to the 1993 National League Championship. And then the Phillies played the Toronto Blue Jays in the World Series, and of course the Joe Carter walk-off. But Tommy Greene, 16-4 that year. As you know, he threw a no-hitter May 23rd, 1991.
Yep, our guest was there, I think.
Yeah. Co-host number 49, Phillies pitcher Tommy Greene.
Well, thank you, my friend. It's always special hearing it come from him. It makes you feel young again. Yeah.
Amen.
Tommy, thanks for joining us not only tonight but throughout the year. Our special guest tonight is exceeded only by one broadcaster in the history of Phillies radio and television in terms of length of service. Harry Callis performed brilliantly for 38 years, and Chris Wheeler, right behind, only 1 year less than Harry, 37 years. You've got to be pretty good, Tommy, to last that long.
Oh, yeah, he started when he was 20. So, you're 57 now.
I was about 15 when I started.
Hey, but you know what? A lot of our friends here tonight at Chickies and Pete's, 10 Liberty Boulevard in Malvern, might know that Chris went to Marble Newtown High School, baseball star there.
Oh, no.
Went to Penn State.
Yeah, well, I want to hear about this stuff.
Penn State University. Well, according to Lou Bonder, you were a pretty good athlete.
I was not bad. Let me put it this way. I made the mistake one day of telling Boa, at least I made my high school baseball team.
Oh, wow.
That was a huge mistake.
I'd love to have been right beside the ring on that one.
Oh,
really? Where'd it get you? Running pink slips downstairs, you know?
Oh, my God.
Chris, it's great to have you, and you certainly did a wonderful job for the Phillies. And we didn't even mention, he's been the public address announcer for the Phillies at spring training in Clearwater since 1972, and that's 51 years.
Yeah. Well,
now we know. Now we're seeing the years.
I'm 78. I admit it.
And you don't look a day over 61.
Yeah, well, that's good. Thank you, Greenie. All I try to do down there is be half as good as you. But I enjoy
Amen.
I enjoy doing the PA down there all those years, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I love the game, as you guys know. I just love baseball. But it also makes you watch it. It keeps you focused. And the years that I was a broadcaster, I'm watching, and now I'll bring a guy up during the season. I say, I saw him play in spring training, or a guy from another team.
Yeah.
And you see them come up. So it's fun to do that because you really have to watch a game, pay attention.
Well, Chris, yours is a comforting voice, and as you know, my wife Kathy's here tonight. We go down to Clearwater every March for a couple of weeks, sometimes it's a month, and hearing your familiar voice there, it just makes you feel at home, and
I'm the lucky one here. I'm sitting in between the two guys that when I played,
Yeah.
Y'all make me feel like I'm 24 again. You know, but
you mentioned Greene's no-hitter. Well, I was lucky enough to broadcast that game in Montreal.
And Harry had the golf tee right there. He used to carry with him after that day.
Tita.
Every time the Carolina blue tee.
Yeah.
By the way, one of my friends helped correct a small mistake on baseballreferences.com. They had your nickname in there as T. the Green.
Yeah. Well, see, you know why they did that? Who gave me that? Chris Berman.
Chris Berman,
and
yeah,
he was
that's
the one
right.
to say T2 Green.
Right.
And then, and that's Chris Berman started it, but Harry said Tita.
Tita.
I mean, that's what he.
and then Dutch, Tita all the time.
Then Dutch. That was over then. Dutch.
And he'd carry that tee around with
he Tita.
a little blue tee.
Well, listen, we're going to take advantage of both your wonderful histories, and we're going to talk current Phillies baseball as the Phillies are on the verge of clinching a wild card berth and should do that tonight or Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday night. Chris, if I could ask you first about Scott Rowland's induction into the Phillies Wall of Fame. Of course, you broadcast Scott's wonderful career. You were good friends, and it was so heartwarming to see the reception that he received in Philadelphia last Friday night, September 22nd, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's very, very worthy of being on the Wall of Fame, obviously, and I think in the Hall of Fame. He's a great third baseman, tremendous defensive third baseman. He would hit more home runs, but he hurt his shoulder on a play in the playoffs in Arizona one time when he got his shoulder blown out. So he was never really the same after that with his power. But good guy, cerebral, overthought a lot of things, and I think he knows that now. We used to have a lot of talks about some things that were not going well for him that he didn't like and all, and he never really could get past it till he got older and matured a little bit more. But he's a great man. He's got a beautiful family, and he's a really, really good guy.
And those comments right there, as a baseball and a human being, as we all know, we have an opportunity to pay it forward now, and he has an opportunity to pay it forward. And, you know, some of the mistakes we make, we try to teach the young ones behind us, you know, what we did and what we did wrong, you know, necessarily. So that statement right there is a very true statement. You're a good man, my friend.
I've seen a lot of guys go through that, Greenie, over the years.
That was my big thing. I wanted to hear from you.
Yeah.
You've seen so much.
Yeah, young and immature, you know, because there's all that fame and stardom, and you're playing in the toughest town in the country.
Yeah.
When things go great, it's great. When it doesn't, you know, it can be a little,
they're tough, but
be
the
a little
most
challenging.
knowledgeable fans and love
Very
the fans.
challenging, yeah.
Chris, I also thought it was great how gracious Scott Rowland was in his acceptance remarks.
Yeah, I loved it when he went over and hugged Bill Giles.
Bill Giles, yep.
That choked me up because I know, you know, Bopper's been having a little bit of trouble with some health.
Yeah.
He's doing okay, but you know, he's not the same. He can't walk the way he did, and a lot of things, you know, that he wishes he could do that he can't. And I know that meant the world to him for Scott Rowland to acknowledge him, but then to, in the middle of his speech,
just
walk
take
over
time out
and go hug the. We call him the Bopper. I've always called him the Bopper.
Yeah.
And to go over and hug the Bopper, I mean, that was that was Scott Rowland.
Yeah.
It was a
That's
perfect
just who he
example
is.
of what he is.
Very,
that
very
in his Hall of
touching.
Fame speech too. I mean, that shows you the type of who he is.
Very gracious.
That's very is. You hit it.
Tommy Greene, the Phillies are coming off of a 4-game sweep of the New York Mets.
How about that?
And last
Beat
night,
them Mets.
making his major league debut, Orion Kerkering. What impression did he make on you?
Wow. Yeah. Very good. I mean, you hear it. I'd never seen him before until that, but you hear, you know, when they said, "Who's this guy?" And then I've talked to a few people that know. He said, "You're gonna be impressed with him," and I was. You know, very, very. That's probably one of the better sliders that I've probably seen. You know, and that's saying something because I've seen a lot of good ones. Dave Steve have a good one back in the day too now. You know, but as hard as he throws it, and the command that he throws it with.
And it's late.
Yeah, I mean, it disappears, you know. And, you know, I did, right before we got on air, I told Wills I was going to I said, I'm texting Larry to see what he says about that kid's slider. I said, wow. I'm just waiting to hear what he has to say. So, because that's another man. Because I've seen Larry Anderson, the times I played with him, throw one pitch other than a slider.
Yeah.
And you remember where it was at. It was in Atlanta, game 5, Ron Gant, the end of the game.
And nobody knew what it was.
I knew what it was. I saw it. I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
But that's the man that the epitome of a slider, L.A. I can't wait to hear what he said. But I tell you what, you got to use that kid, I think.
Yeah.
With stuff he's got, why not?
I saw him. I was lucky enough to, I stay in Clearwater when you guys all leave.
Oh, you saw him come up.
I saw him pitch one night.
Yeah.
And he didn't stay long in Clearwater for obvious reasons. But
yeah.
he pitched one night, and he pitched one inning, and he had 2 strikeouts, and I remember going, whoa, that's different. That's not going to stay here very long.
Yeah, that's different.
And
you say
it was
that.
different right away. And first of all, he's a college kid, and they're very young in that league. There are a lot of 18, 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
Chris and Tommy, I was trying to think of another Phillies pitcher that came out of our farm system as a bullpen piece. I thought of Sir Anthony Dominguez.
Yeah.
But
he's got that type of stuff, too. He's got to find a command.
Can't think of too many others that came up and looked that impressive in their first outing. And
I'm trying to think back to my tenure. Anybody
show
their head?
System.
Yeah, that's not with that stuff. No, not top of my head.
Now,
Will's, he's got a better memory than me. He's seen so many
starters.
people.
I remember starters.
Oh, starters.
Like Marty. When
Marty
came
Bison
up in 80.
Yeah.
But
now, is he allowed to be on the postseason roster?
That's because Hoskins is on the 60, right? I think that's what I was reading today.
Yeah.
It's the way it works out. He is able, if they so choose, to do it. I mean,
he's eligible.
I'm waiting to see his next outing. Just use him. See what you got to know what you're getting a little bit.
Tommy.
And he hasn't pitched back-to-back all year, which, of course, you're not going to do that anyway. There's a day off.
Yeah.
But whether they would try that or not, I don't know. I would think they'd be careful about that because he hasn't done it, and they want to make sure they don't do anything to change his routine. And then, again, they may want to see if he can do it.
I know. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you've seen it all. I mean, you've come up talking about the 70s era with Bo and you've seen pitches where they're throwing 150 pitches in a game, or whatever. And then you got guys that they don't go back-to-back days, or they don't throw 100 pitches, or it's changed so much. You gotta be able, as a reliever in the big leagues. We're at the top echelon of where we want to be. He's not a minor leaguer no more. He's a big league guy. He's got to be able. It's time for him to go. Okay, make that next step. Pick the back-to-back nights. He's got to. I think they got to do that, but. I mean, especially if you're going to use him in the postseason. Yeah. If he's got that type of stuff, you got to use him, man.
They got 6 more games to work him in a little bit more. Yeah. So we'll see.
Oh boy, Tommy, there's another pitcher, Christopher Sanchez, who started yesterday's game, and I know you like him a lot.
Well, I tell you what, he's earned his stripes this year. He's come in, and you can't ask for more than he's done. Being, putting his situation come in. And he hadn't done nothing but gotten better and better each time, And the record doesn't show it, but he's gave them exactly what they wanted. And especially the last 2 outings, he's giving them length now, not just 5 innings and 85 pitches. It's been it's been 7 or more innings worked into and going right at 100 pitches now. He's been more efficient. He throws strikes. He stays ahead and counts. Don't walk people. And he's got that changeup. It's almost like Kirkland's slider.
Disappears.
Yeah, it disappears. The left hand. That was filthy last night. They had no chance last night.
It's got to look like a fastball out of his hand.
Oh, yeah.
To get that many swings.
It just sits. It's unbelievable.
He must have really good slot for it and all that.
Arm speed, everything. It doesn't. I wish I never could grasp that. Podge tried his darndest to teach me.
He had a good one.
Oh,
Johnny Podgers had a great
I never had that, like that. But I had a decent slider, and I got by.
Let me get your guys' opinion on another pitcher new to the Phillies this year, Michael Lorenzen.
Okay.
Like Tommy Greene, threw a no-hitter, and he's practically struggled ever since, Chris.
Well, his first 2 starts were awesome.
Yeah.
You can't beat that.
You know, whether or not that, we go into the pitch count because they're not, and he's been a reliever most of his career.
Yeah,
and he wanted to start, and he was at Detroit, and that's why he came to the Phillies. Or the Phillies got him because he wanted to start. Did that affect him? I don't know. But yesterday he looked very comfortable for 1 inning, and maybe that's where he's like the guy that, I don't mean to change it, but the guy to me that has done the best job, Strom, that left-hander.
Yeah.
Because he's pitched a lot of innings.
Yeah, he's been versatile, and he has pitched a lot of innings.
He helped out when they needed a starter, and now he can come in and he can pitch 2 innings.
Yeah.
When you need him. That guy right now, to me, is one of the most valuable players on the team.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting the way they use their starters right here at the first part of the postseason. Is who's going to be. Yep. You got Lorenzen there. Are they going to use Sanchez down there? Or who are they going to make that decision? They're going with Wheeler, Nolan, and
Taijuan Walker.
No, is it Tyrone? Is it going to be Ranger?
I don't know.
It's
a good point.
Rangers, I tell you, it's tough.
Depends on the
right
lineup.
now I'm going. It depends on maybe the lineup a little bit more. Ranger is tough. To me, he's been sort of trending in the right direction here over the last 3-4 weeks. He's kind of gotten that groove a little bit for him because he's like nothing bothers him out there either. No. You can't get him off his game either. So it's good to see him trending in that way.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session. Our special guest tonight is Chris Wheeler. Your co-hosts are Tommy Greene and me, Dan Baker. We'll be back with the second segment of tonight's show after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, and we are prouder than ever to partner with the Philadelphia Eagles. Chicky and Pete's has been named the official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, and we continue to serve as the official caterer of both Eagles training camp and the official caterer of the First Trust Bank Club at Lincoln Financial Field. Go where the players go. The official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, Chickies and Pete's.
Millions of Americans are losing their medical assistance or Medicaid coverage. If this affects you, Independence Blue Cross can help. You may be eligible to enroll in a health plan for as little as $0 a month. With Independence Blue Cross, you get the largest provider network in the area, including most Keystone First doctors and hospitals. We also offer free 24/7 telemedicine, coverage for hospital stays and prescriptions. See if you qualify for $0 health insurance and enroll today. Call Independence Blue Cross at 1-844-464-2583 or visit ibx.com/staycovered.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
I SEPTA Philly.
I SEPTA Philly. I SEPTA Philly.
I ride the Broad Street line. Do you know how expensive parking is?
I do not have time to deal with traffic.
Because it's better for the environment.
I ride SEPTA all the time.
Monday through Friday, and whenever game day is.
I'm out the door and at my stop by 7:30.
I catch up on work when I ride.
I check Twitter, text my buddies.
I watch sports highlights. Or lowlights.
For real Philly fans, SEPTA is the hometown way to go. Ride with us at iseptaphilly.com.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Tommy Greene.
Special guest tonight, Phillies broadcaster Chris Wheeler. Also Phillies public address announcer in Clearwater, Florida for 51 years.
Wow.
That Chris Wheeler. And Chris,
that's impressive. That's impressive.
I don't
Long
think
time fooling them.
There's probably no better historian
Yeah.
of Phillies broadcasters than you. And my goodness, you worked with Harry Callis and Richie Ashburn for all those years.
Andy Musser.
Andy Musser.
And one of my best friends in the world passed away this year, is Tim McCarver.
Yeah.
And we worked together. You know, I was Timmy's first broadcast partner.
And Tim McCarver, Chris gives you credit for helping teach him the broadcast ropes.
He did from
and he
day
went
one.
on to network.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He and I were so close. And, you know, you talk about I can remember things. And he was like that. And unfortunately, I saw him in January this year, and he was going the other way pretty bad.
Yeah.
And it was sad to watch because that great mind was slipping away. And it was almost fortuitous that he passed away because he was struggling so much. But I've been very blessed with a great memory, and you know, I almost killed myself in a golf cart a couple weeks ago.
That story right there is unbelievable.
I could have hit my head and changed everything. But so far, so good.
It just messed up his golf game for a little bit, but he'll be back at it.
I broke a few ribs, but I'm coming back.
You know what, Chris?
Your putting to be better.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to discuss that on the air? What happened to you?
Well, Tom brought it up, and Johnny got on me. Johnny got on me pretty good that night, and then they found out how bad it was, and they didn't rag me as much.
Yeah.
When I told them what happened,
it was bad.
Oh, it was bad. Yeah, it could have been bad. So anyway, I'm fine. Look,
Chris, you're well.
What you've been through, I don't even want to go there. I'm fine, Dan.
You're well thought of, and
that's an understatement.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate between. I mean, having Whitey, Harry, and Wills on the same.
Yeah.
I mean, we were back there on the flights and stuff, and I was like, I was a kid in the candy store.
Yeah, he would sit back there with you guys.
Oh my! It was awesome. It was unbelievable.
Chris, you and me growing up in this area had the pleasure to listen and watch Bison, Gene Kelly, Bill Campbell.
And Whitey's first year in the booth was 62, because he was the most valuable player on the worst team in history, the first year of the New York Mets.
Yes.
Lost 120 games. And
wow.
he retired, and was it 63 maybe was his first year as a broadcaster. Anyway, that's when he came on, and he was my boyhood idol when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So to get to know him, and he and I played a lot of golf together, Philly Country Club and all, and he was just a wonderful person.
Y'all would talk. I mean, when y'all start talking, I'm just like, it's the only time I shut up. Yeah, it's like Crucky would say. It's like that's like E.F. Hutton. I mean, I knew my role. I was young enough, when the veterans talk and when Whitey and y'all, he was like, they've seen so many good ball players. Yeah. I wanted to be the sponge. The best piece of advice I ever got from Willie Stargell. He said, shut up and listen. You don't know it all. And then don't be afraid to ask questions.
Amen. That's great points. Both of them.
And he said, and the best people. So when y'all talked, it was like I wanted to be the sponge. And if I had a question, I asked. So I mean, it was the best. I mean, I was so fortunate. And I tell the kids today, if you get an opportunity to pitch in the big leagues, they said, take advantage. You got guys that are going to be there, and they've been there for a long time. You don't know it all. You don't know it all. You got access to years and years and decades of experience that's seen it all and seen some of the best players in history use it. So.
Well, I was lucky enough as a kid, as a fan, to see Willie Mays and Hank Aaron in their prime. So when you hear people talk about, well, I didn't see Babe Ruth. I get that crap. Oh, how was Babe? I don't. But Willie Mays, you did too, Dan. And and to this day, I've never seen a better baseball player than Willie Mays, in my opinion.
I've never seen that.
Five-tool player who could do the things he could do in that era.
Well, I had Hank Aaron for a boss.
And Whitey beat him twice for batting titles.
Wow!
Think about that. The Richie Ashburn
That's
won
impressive.
In the time when Willie Mays and Hank Aaron and those guys were, and Clemente had come along.
Yeah, so, Roberto Clemente.
Yeah, that was one. That's a guy. How was that guy?
Oh my God! If he'd have played in a major media market, he'd have been Mays. Mays, Mantle, and Duke Snyder, Willie Mickey, and the Duke. Well, Roberto would have been, but he's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So people didn't know him like they knew the guys from New York.
Yeah.
Oh, Greene, he could really play.
That's
and
impressive,
he could
man.
throw. He could run. and he'd hit the ball
How
off the
about
ground.
his arm, Chris?
Unbelievable how he could
He was
throw.
like our version of the Expos, Guerrero. Remember?
Right.
He could hit it everywhere. Vladdy, he could hit it everywhere.
He'd hit off the ground, and that's what Clemente
like
would
cricket.
do. God, he was
Three
great.
iron it.
He was great.
Chris, what is your recollection of Bison, Bill Campbell, Jim Kelly?
That I grew up with them, and that I was thrilled to meet them, and then to be friends with them.
That's awesome. You've met so many great
Soupy and
people.
Bill Campbell and I worked a year on Prism on the cable TV. We worked together. Sammy and I never worked together because I started working after Byron retired. That was one of the reasons I got in there. But they were heroes of mine. You know, we were kids growing up in the 50s. I mean, baseball was it. And baseball on the radio. So those voices in your ear, you know, and then to meet them and to be their friends and everything. Oh, man, I was in heaven.
You mentioned Andy Musser.
Yeah.
Andy Musser, Bill Campbell, Bison all did Eagles football, too, as well as Phillies baseball.
Yep. Andy was a very good broadcaster of football and basketball, and he worked with a guy named Charlie Gower, who was an old-time coach.
Absolutely.
And Andy was good. He was good at it. I was lucky enough to, in 1960, I was 15 years old, and I was friends with a girl named Susan Harvey, and her father happened to be Ed Harvey, who was a great broadcaster, and he did the Eagles games with Bill Campbell that year. And I got to watch the Green Bay Packers and the Eagles in 1960, 15 years old, in the end zone at Franklin Field when the Eagles beat Vince Lombardi for the only time he ever lost in postseason. Saw that game in person. Last time the Eagles had won a Super Bowl, of course, until a few years ago. So, but they had everybody, Starr, you know, you name them, Max McGee and Jim Taylor and Hornig and all this.
Yeah.
And the Eagles beat them at Franklin Field that day in December of 1960.
Boy, talk about a big moment in Philadelphia sports history.
That was great. It was just great.
And you know, we might be on the precipice of another big moment, Tommy and Chris. Yeah. I mean, last year, the Phillies just about got into the postseason, then went all the way to the World Series, and actually took a 1-0 lead in the Fall Classic, and then 2-1. And I thought, we're going to get our third championship.
Well, Wills has seen it. He's seen it. I mean, it's about getting in. We talked about it all last year. Me and Brazier on our show said, we got to get healthy. You got to get your guys healthy at the right time because the talent's here, and it's all about getting hot at the right time. Because we got a couple starters that get going. That Wheeler and Nola or vice versa, whoever gets, you can hurt people right off the bat, and you can anybody be beaten in a series.
Yep.
So and it's all about that. You've seen it a ton.
Get in the tournament.
Yeah, you got to get in. Anybody can be beat.
Back when I first started, you know, we kept winning the division 76, 77, 78, and back in those days you only had to win 3 games and you went to the World Series. Couldn't do it until 1980, and then finally did. And of course, now there's all these layers of so much harder
that might
now.
have been
all
the
these
best
layers
NLCS I'd ever seen.
That was a good one.
That was it was and I remember I was in high school. Yeah, and that was unbelievable.
4 straight extra inning games.
I wasn't even in high school then. I remember watching.
That was great.
That was unbelievable.
You're trailing Nolan Ryan down there.
That was the greatest game ever.
No way.
Man.
You can't win that game.
And, you know, Manny Trio came back, for Alumni Weekend. And when you see those guys, and it reminds you of, past Phillies successes. And,
it was great times.
And I've gotten over the years that it's been a blessing to get to know some of those guys. You know, the 80 team.
Amen.
It's unbelievable. The guys I grew up watching, it's unbelievable. The guys, just Schmitty and Bull. What? How about Bull? How about that guy? How about that guy?
Bull's a great guy.
He's a good human being.
Well, it certainly didn't hurt Mike Schmidt that he had number 19, Greg Luzinski, batting behind him.
Amen to that.
That guy had some thump, man.
And Bull could hit for an average, too.
Yes, he could. He could.
He could run a little bit. Dan will tell you, Greenie, before he blew his knee, which was probably an ACL.
Yeah.
And back then, he can't repair it.
Yeah.
Couldn't repair it like they do now. So he blew his knee, and he could never really run after that. Yeah. But he could run.
Unstable.
He was very good athlete. Very good athlete.
He was a great football player, wasn't he?
Real good. Recruited by big-time programs.
Yeah.
A couple of more Phillies pitchers I want to ask you about.
Yeah.
Aaron Nola.
Yeah.
He is well up in the career statistics of Phillies baseball. Strikeouts, innings pitched.
He's been durable.
He's been durable. He's eaten up a lot of innings. Hasn't been as consistent this year, I don't believe. A little more inconsistent.
Well, I think the clock's hurt him. Because what Greene knows, when a pitcher pitched, the thing the pitcher wanted to do, he knew nothing happens till he throws a baseball. So
and that's the way we were taught.
That's the way guys control the game.
Yeah, and the hitters try to mess us up by stepping out and all that stuff.
And
it was the cat and mouse game.
The clock is the clock's better for baseball, but it is not good for him because he led the league in throwovers. And he was never trying to pick anybody off. He would just throw over there, and that was kind of the reset.
Yeah.
Can't do that now. And you watch when he gets in an inning and gets a man on, all of a sudden he gets into something, he can't get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, he has that one bad inning, it seems like. But overall, just watching him a little bit, because he does have some moving parts with his delivery, the way he pitches. And he gets off a little bit, he flattens out. His angle he throws from, his ball doesn't sink. And, to me, he's better when he's down in the zone.
Yeah, sure.
When he's down. It's sort of like Eflin.
Yeah.
Eflin was the same way,
Eflin.
man. You can pitch
Heavy
up,
sinker.
you can pop up, but I mean, these guys, they got to where they were at and stuff by doing good things, staying down in the zone, keeping the ball in the ballpark and down. His mistakes have been out over the plate and getting elevated. But
he's
over the plate because he's missing up in the zone, and the ball, when you miss up in the zone in Citizens Bank Park and then gaps, you're going to hang your head and rub up a new baseball.
With the Phillies on the verge of clinching a postseason berth, we've got a lot more to talk about with Chris Wheeler and Tommy Greene. And we'll be back with the second half of tonight's show in a moment.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, and we are prouder than ever to partner with the Philadelphia Eagles. Chicky and Pete's has been named the official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, and we continue to serve as the official caterer of both Eagles training camp and the official caterer of the First Trust Bank Club at Lincoln Financial Field. Go where the players go. The official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, Chickies and Pete's.
At Independence Blue Cross, we believe in giving you the tools you need to pursue your healthiest life. From premiums as low as $0 per month to health discounts and cash rewards, it pays to have coverage with Independence. With the strongest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free 24/7 virtual doctor visits, you can feel confident that quality care is always within reach. Learn more about your coverage options at ibx.com.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
There really is nothing like a home team advantage. That's why Team Toyota is the choice for your next vehicle purchase or service this season. With new Toyota models available for immediate delivery and over 100 certified used and pre-owned vehicles for any budget. Plus service specials to keep you on the road to victory. Shop or schedule online at teamtoyota.net or choose one of our 3 locations in Langhorne, Glen Mills, or Princeton. Are you part of the team?
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Tommy Greene.
Boy, it's getting exciting here at Chickies and Pete's in Malvern. And, boy, it's starting to fill up. Of course, the Eagles are on Monday Night Football down in Tampa. And
exciting night.
we're excited about the Philadelphia baseball Phillies. They have their last 3 regular season home games beginning tomorrow night with Pittsburgh. And they should be clinching not only a wild card berth, but the top wild card position before this homestand ends.
They got it in their hands.
And that's important because you get all home games.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what they wound up going into St. Louis last year without a home game.
Yeah.
And they won it. And they won. So, it doesn't mean you're going to win. But with the crowds the way they are right now, it's a heck of an advantage.
And the tendency, the way they play at home.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Chris Wheeler, Tommy Greene, I'm Dan Baker. We're glad to have you with us. And as we get ready, Chris and Tommy, to go into the postseason, which teams do you like in the National League? Which teams do you like in the American League? Besides the obvious division.
Well, the Braves. Braves and the Dodgers.
And they're beat up. They're banged up a little bit right now.
Their pitching's banged up a little bit.
Hey, it comes down to pitching. But the Braves are lucky in the fact they got an offense that can slug you. So they're never out of a ball game. So that's one thing they kind of make up for that. But they're banged up a little bit pitching wise.
We saw the Orioles in spring training. You could tell they were going to be better. Were they going to be this good? I didn't. Who could see that?
They're impressive.
And I see the Rays all the time down there because I'm down there till July and watch them on TV. They're really good. They just play the game the right way, and they're just really good.
Well, you got like the 3-headed snake.
Yep.
In Milwaukee with their pitching staff.
Yep.
You got them 3 boys right there coming at you. They can put you to sleep. They in a hurry. So you got to be on top of your game when you're facing guys. So at the top of the division, it's going to be. It's just who's that team that comes in, so to speak. If we get the number 1 position, that behind is going to have to fight their way from the bottom like we did last year.
Yep.
That can do damage. Is it going? Arizona sort of got that type of team where they can cause havoc on the bases because they can run. They can do, and they're young, and they ain't got no fear, man. They're playing it aggressive.
They have Zach Allen and Merrill Kelly.
Yeah,
they're 2 really. Merrill Kelly pitched today, and he had a tough time in that weather up there today. I was watching him, but him and Zach Allen, that's a 1-2 that they come in, and you have to face them right out of the chute. You will earn it.
You got to earn it.
I'd rather see the Cubs.
Oh yes,
Cubs come in.
And people always used to ask us about that. And the way I used to think, anybody with a bat in hand can hurt you.
Yep.
It don't matter what team it is. They're big league teams. These guys play in the big leagues. So you got to treat them. You got to execute and do what you do well. It's like John Vukovic used to say to me. You remember, old Vukie, man, what a great guy. He used to run our pitcher-catcher meetings, right?
Yeah.
And we'd file out of Jimmy's office, Fugosi's office after, and he says, "You pitching today, Greeny?" Which he knew I was. He had the lineup on the board. He's the one that put it up there. I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Forget about everything we just talked about. High fastballs, hard sliders, go get them. Don't think. You do what you do well." It's because if I execute what I do well, because I didn't need that clutter in my head, like all the other stuff. Everybody's different. You got to figure out what makes you tick, and that's. When you have a good coach like that, he figured me out a little bit. He said, "Hey, don't worry about it. You do what you do well. You work it."
He's a good man.
Yes, he is.
Hey,
I miss him.
Tommy, before I forget, every week, fans, as you know, we name a Independence Blue Cross Live Fearless Player of the Week.
Yeah.
Tommy, who have you chosen this week?
Well, I've gone with Nick Castellanos. Yeah, and what well deserved. And it's really, it put it over the top, well over the top, was that defensive play he made down the right field line. Did you see that?
Yeah, the no.
Yeah,
Oh,
I thought I heard you saying no.
I was. But Johnny did it on the air, because that truly was a no. Yeah, baby, good play.
That was the angel and the devil on your shoulder saying something. And he made – bottom line, he executed. He did. Quick turn. He got his head around. And he knew, and he got on top of the baseball to keep it true, and that's exactly what he needed to do.
And they haven't lost since.
No.
And a nice tag by Garrett Stubbs.
Everything went right.
Gave him a long hop.
Yeah.
Did short hop him.
Yeah.
The short hops is over.
Great throw.
Yeah.
You know, and for the week, just to say what he hit 381 for the week with 4 homers, 10 ribbies, you know, and even stole a base. You don't see him do that often. So, what a great week for Nick. You know, he's well deserved right there.
Amen.
You know, Chris and Tommy, isn't it terrific that the Phillies have any one of a number of guys that can knock one out of the park?
Oh,
you know, Bryce Harper, Alec Bohm, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos,
Turner.
I mean
Stock can do it. Stock, I mean, he's got a little pop too. Now he's hit some big homers. And since he's been in the big leagues,
yes, he has.
He's timely big homers.
He's one of those guys that he has that great 2-strike approach, and he's not thinking. He like Tony Gwynn was. You know, Tony Gwynn could have hit 40 home runs.
Oh God,
but that's not what he was. He was a guy who put the ball in play and hit it hard somewhere. Stott, I'm not comparing Stott to Tony Gwynn.
No.
There's only one Tony Gwynn, but he's kind of like that when you watch him.
Yes, he is.
He uses the whole
field.
Yeah.
And another guy that does very well at that too is Bohm.
Yes.
His approach, right? I mean, and that's why I can see him being a 300 hitter.
He's going to hit
him and Stott. I mean, Stott basically hit all year. Except he scuffled right here a little bit in the last, but you know they're right there.
Look,
you know?
what he did.
Hitting 300 big leagues is a tough feat, man.
And what he did to win back the fans in this town, it's not easy to do. You know, there have been a lot of guys, and I've been around him, and you've been around him, that said exactly what he said without a camera in their face.
Yeah.
And didn't have to own up to it. I hate this place.
Yes.
Well, and the next night, what did he do after the game? He owned up to it. He got some veteran help, I was told.
Well,
you know.
Well, I mean, no.
And
it's
then he owned
something
up to it.
You own up to it. I mean, if you want to stay here,
you
know, I mean, and stay, you have to do that. Or if not, they're going to let you know.
And look at the player he's become.
That was a grow-up moment.
Amen.
Yeah,
he's got 95 RBIs,
Yes.
Alec Bohm, and he might very well join the 100 club.
And he's a better third
Schwarber
baseman, too. He's a lot better third baseman than he was.
Oh, God, yeah.
You know,
I mean,
he's worked hard at that.
He worked hard and put his nose to the grindstone. Him and his infield instructor did. I mean, they went to war, you know, and that's what you have to do.
Yep.
You know, you have to take it by the bull by the horns and own up to it, which he did, and get to work. And if the people see that and they're on board, man. They're on board with it.
Well, they gave him the standing ovation the next night because of all the things that he had said positive after the game. That, look, I was frustrated, you know, and it worked. And the next thing you know, this kid took off and became a heck of a big league player.
Yeah.
Chris and Tom, here's another interesting stat I read in the Phillies game notes, which you wrote for so many years.
A lot
Chris.
of years, yeah.
Wow.
But it said that this year with Trey Turner at shortstop and Bryson Stott at second, it's the first time that we've had a shortstop second base combination, both of whom had 25 steals in the same year.
How about that?
Another good one.
A lot of speed.
Well, they're a lot more athletic, this team, than last year's team.
Yeah.
They are.
They can run. They need to take advantage of that.
They are very athletic.
I was thinking Turner, I mean, they can run more. They should have run more this year. You know?
He doesn't get caught.
No.
And with the new rules too, especially, you know, the 2 throwovers and then they can't throw over again. So
don't get me started on that rule. That rule I have. Why? You know, I'm like, oh my God.
Because they want to make guys. Hey,
they're
MLB
doing everything
for the offense.
For the offense.
Look at the way the scoring is nowadays. I mean, balls that are errors are given hits, and then you guys, as ex-pitcher, you guys get earned runs.
Yeah.
And then that goes against you in arbitration and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, early on in your career. So
it does that, which takes money out of your pocket.
But every sport wants offense.
Well, I get it. Believe me, I get it.
Yeah.
But offense has got to be earned, not given.
Yep.
That's the way I look at it.
I hate the scoring decisions nowadays. Whatever's going on with that. That's
Tom and Chris, there was another headline in the Philadelphia Daily News today that is encouraging. Jose Alvarado has regained his nasty cutter, which seemed to disappear there for a little while.
Yeah, he had some health, a little bit of health issues, I think, at one time. He was just trying to find his way back and let feel again a little bit. So, it's good to see that.
Hey, who'd want to hit off him?
No, my goodness.
He's nasty.
It don't matter if you're right-handed, left-handed, or whatever it is. I just think he's got that great cutter. But don't forget about that great fastball too. You know, and Orion is the same way. He throws up there too now. Don't forget about that. Don't forget about that fastball.
Yeah, well, the thing about Alvarado, and Greene knows what I'll mean by this, there's not such thing as a comfortable at bat against him because he might throw one up on the screen too. Yeah. So a hitter's up there wondering.
As much as I love the guy I'm fixing to say, Mitch Williams used to be able to get your attention that way too. Right. There wasn't a comfortable bat, especially a left-hander. Especially a left-hander. You remember how many times Larry Walker got in the box and he was like the farthest way you could get in the box, and Mitch still hit him, and didn't mean he had a magnet in his head.
There's certain pitchers, guys, they're just not comfortable, and Alvarado he's nasty.
Yes, he's dirty.
But when he's getting it over like he is, and then he can get ahead a little bit and then throw that cutter, and they'll chase it.
What's the thing? I just don't want him. All the time throwing cutter. I mean, because you got to throw the nasty. Because if you show these guys all the time that, they're going to, if they see it enough, they got an idea.
There's only one pitcher ever lived on cutter, and that was Mariano Rivera.
And that thing had Jaws teeth on it.
He broke a few bats.
You reckon? He kept the bat companies in business, man.
We have to take our last commercial break, and then we'll be back to talk more Phillies baseball with Chris Wheeler, Tommy Greene, and me, Dan Baker. Don't go away.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, and we are prouder than ever to partner with the Philadelphia Eagles. Chicky and Pete's has been named the official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, and we continue to serve as the official caterer of both Eagles training camp and the official caterer of the First Trust Bank Club at Lincoln Financial Field. Go where the players go. The official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, Chickies Pete's.
Millions of Americans are losing their medical assistance or Medicaid coverage. If this affects you, Independence Blue Cross can help. You may be eligible to enroll in a health plan for as little as $0 a month. With Independence Blue Cross, you get the largest provider network in the area, including most Keystone First doctors and hospitals. We also offer free 24/7 telemedicine, coverage for hospital stays and prescriptions. See if you qualify for $0 health insurance and enroll today. Call Independence Blue Cross at 1-844-464-2583 or visit ibx.com/staycovered.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
There really is nothing like a home team advantage. That's why Team Toyota is the choice for your next vehicle purchase or service this season. With new Toyota models available for immediate delivery and over 100 certified used and pre-owned vehicles for any budget. Plus service specials to keep you on the road to victory. Shop or schedule online at teamtoyota.net or choose one of our 3 locations in Langhorne, Glen Mills, or Princeton. Are you part of the team?
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Tommy Greene.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Chickies and Pete's in Malvern with Chris Wheeler and Tommy Greene. I'm Dan Baker. Tomorrow night, the Phillies' last 3 home games of the 2023 season before almost certainly embarking on postseason play.
Yeah.
And we say almost certainly, Chris, because you and I were big fans in '64. 6.5 game lead with 12 to go, and we went into a 10-game losing streak and finished in second place by 1.
Still have the scars.
We heard it in '93.
And you guys used to come up to me, Greene, and not you necessarily, but I had guys who would come up to me and say, "What's wrong with these people? Why are they talking about '63? We weren't even born." I said, "You had to live through it."
Yeah.
64, I mean. You had to live through it to understand how horrible that was. Yeah. And one of the guys who beat us in 2 big games, Tim McCarver with the Cardinals, who went on to win the division. Timmy hit 2 big home runs in games out in St. Louis again. He was a young player then in '64. I think he was 20 or 21 years old.
Wow.
You know, Chris, there was another Cardinal who was tough on us that year. Former Philly, the great left-hander of the 1950s, Kurt Simmons.
Yeah.
How about that?
17-8 with the Cardinals.
Oh, Kurt,
they had better players than the Phillies. They just did. But the Phillies had a magical year, and it just lost 10 in a row. Worst time you could lose 10 in a row during a season.
Yeah.
Do it early.
Yeah.
Not
late.
When you
That's what's been so good about watching us at the end here, what they've done here the last 10, our last 10. They're 8-2. And hopefully they can finish it out these last 6 games and starting tomorrow.
When you look back and say how the 60 Frank Thomas breaking his thumb, what a great acquisition. Yeah. I think he had 7 home runs and 25 RBIs.
Well, that's one of the great Phillies trivia questions, and I can't name them all, but they're like 9, 10, or 11 guys that played first base that year for the Phillies.
Wow.
And one of them was Ruben Amaro, senior.
How about that?
How
about that name?
Vic Power, John Hernstein, Costin Shockley,
Danny Cater.
Yeah,
I can't get them all, but
you're
on a roll.
Roy Sievers, I think for a brief time.
Cookie Rojas may have been over there for a game. Mark just was trying to find somebody to play first base after Thomas broke his thumb.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, it looks like the Phillies are going to host the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
And we've got a tough
that's a dogfight now.
matchup. And then the winner of that would play the Atlanta Braves in the NLDS.
Yep.
With the Braves having home field.
Just like last year.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
hey, they thought the same thing last year. Everybody was like, the mighty Braves. Hey, they thought that back in '93 too.
Chris,
the mighty Braves. What happened? Yeah,
it's your old team.
Yay! I mean, it all comes down to the things, the pitching and defense, not making the mistakes, make the routine plays.
Amen.
Not giving away things. You do that, you got a shot.
Yep.
Well, we do have bullpen depth. We talked about that.
We got some arms down there. I know that.
And Alvarado with the cutter back, and now Craig Kimbrell. There's a guy maybe in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And he's had some good outings. He's over 20 saves.
Yeah.
He hasn't pitched this many innings for a long, long time, and he was 10 years younger when he did it. So I think it's taken its toll on him. People ask me in spring training about Kimbrell, like Bill Wendell. I would do a Billy show.
Yeah.
And he would say, "What do you think of Kimbrell?" And I said, "He's going to make the ball club and he's going to help us." But I said, "Well, he'll never be the closer."
Really?
He has been.
I mean,
and did a great job.
I tell you what, he's done overall the year he went through time. He was dominant.
Yes.
He was really good. And you have times as a pitcher, you've seen it throughout the year. Even the great guys, they scuffle, but it's all about minimizing. But the thing is about closers and relievers, they don't have a chance to overcome that inning.
Right.
Like the starters do. We can overcome that inning. You might give up a couple runs, but pitching 7-8 innings or whatever, and that's it. He's got 1 inning, and overall he's done an outstanding job. I'd love to see him these next, this couple of series when he gets in the ball game, have just be marching in the right direction.
Yep. Well, the clock
not struggle.
I think the clock bothers him too.
Yeah, people are going to try to take advantage of that.
And he lets guys steal too.
He's not going to vary what he does.
No?
I think it's what makes him effective. He just soon go 1-0. He's going to come at you. And he throws strikes.
Yeah. He's not a double play guy anyway, so it's not like keeping a double. But it still makes me nervous the way guys steal on him all the time. They just run at will. I mean, great Maddox.
Oh yeah,
that was Maddox's thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I don't care. You're not going to score. But, Kimbrel's not quite that kind of. Maddox would throw that weak ground ball a lot.
Oh, he threw a million of them.
Kimbrel's not a ground ball guy.
Oh, I mean, Maddox would throw you like right-handed change-ups, right-hander hitter. He'd throw you change-ups inside just so you pull it foul.
Ball would sink.
Ball
and
one,
cut.
ball two.
Yeah.
I mean, strike one, strike two.
Yeah.
And then he'd throw the nasty or whatever, paint you out there. Only
And
call it paint. He was about that far off.
Umpires would give him that much too. Him and Glavin.
Well, that's because his first other pitches were right there all the time. They never threw it down the middle of the plate.
Never.
Ever. That's the way we were taught. People ask me what I come up through the Brave system. Even when we were on our side sessions, the catcher never set in the middle of the plate. We never set in the middle of the plate.
Was that Leo?
Leo started that, and that was I don't know if it was old Johnny Sane theory or whatever, part of that, because Leo talked about it a lot. Because we always, the epitome of it is let the life on your ball take care of especially early in the count. If you're throwing it down the middle, the guy's going to be aggressive, but if you're throwing the halves and your ball's moving, the ball roos to the corner, the umpire calls the strike, right? Now, if you're starting out on the corner and the ball moves off the plate and your catcher rolls a little bit that's ball one.
Yeah.
We want the umpire getting that habit, so all of a sudden when you go here on the corner and you go here, you got him going that. The likelihood that he might do that because you proved to him you could do it. That's how I think Maddox and Glavin and all those got all those pitches at the time.
Yeah, those veterans.
They hit the catcher. They hit Eddie Perez and Javi. All those guys right in the middle of his chest, wherever he was sitting at, all the time.
And those veteran umpires back in those days, if you proved to them that you could throw strikes,
they wanted to move the game on.
They would call them.
Yes, they would.
Frank Pulley.
Hey, that dude. Every year, I think he had to go have his rotator cuff cleaned out because he was pulling them strikes.
He used to say to me, we were really great friends. He used to say to me, "All right, who's pitching that?" He said, "I'll see you in 2 hours."
Yeah.
That's what he'd say.
And the hitters would come back. To play. And
the bats.
You better be swinging.
Swing the bats,
You better
boys.
be swinging, boys. It was almost with Pulley back there. It was almost like a getaway spring training. The last day of spring training day. Wherever you better swing. If you take a strike, you were fine.
He was what he was.
Yes, he was.
And a wonderful guy.
Well, Chris and Tommy, we've had a great show tonight.
Oh my God, it flew by.
And you guys contributed so much to this interesting conversation. And let's hope that we're going to be able to extend these shows and these conversations
that would be
for
great.
a couple of more weeks as the Phillies advance into 2023.
Tommy Greene has always been one of my favorite people. He knows that. We've been friends for so many years.
Yes.
And you, Dan, are special.
Thank
in so
you,
many
Chris.
ways of what you've done for the Phillies and the way you've battled through some things. And
oh my God,
you're a good man.
Well, thank you very much, Chris. Now, next week, more than likely, the Phillies are going to be in the postseason, so we will have another Independence Blue Cross Bull Session on WBCB 1490 AM and 107.3 FM. I think the likely venue is Chickies and Pete's at 15th and Packer. Our producer tonight has been Chris Ermer. For Chris Wheeler and Tommy Greene, I'm Dan Baker. Thanks for listening to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session. Good night, everybody.
You've been listening to the Independence Blue Cross is an exclusive